Well, good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be able to MC this event. We're scattered all over the audience here, so it looks like we don't have a lot, but there's a lot of people here, all from different places. And so it's great to just see everybody here. The other thing I noticed, Roz, is that when you have these in-person events, it happens to be a rainy day. And therefore, you don't have to worry about being here because what else are you going to do on a rainy day? So welcome, everybody, and it's just great to be here and amongst friends. I think we're all here with a common purpose and with common questions. And the idea today is that we're going to come out with answers. And we're all going to be part of the answers. It's not just one group, not just another group. We're all going to be part of the answers. This morning, we have 4 civic leaders here, sitting here, and they are going to talk very briefly about their issues that they see in relation to providing more affordable housing in their communities. So directly to my left, your right, we have Deputy Mayor of Meaford, Shirley Keaveney. Shirley was part of the original Social Finance and Housing Group and still is involved and has a real passion for affordable housing to build stronger communities. Carol Merton, beside her, councillor in Owen Sound. Carol has been part of the Social Finance and Housing team already since the beginning, I think, right, Carol? And she asks all the good questions. I love just having her part of it. Then we have Andrea Metrosovs. Did I get that right? Thank you. Mayor of Blue Mountains and also a member of the Attainable Housing Corporation, Blue Mountains Attainable Housing Corporation. Welcome, Andrea. And then Mayor of Collingwood, Yvonne Hamlin. Yvonne was part of our first Social Finance and Housing Group as well. And again, very insightful, lots of questions, and a real passion for building community through affordable housing. They're each going to have 3 minutes to address you, and so I'm going to be off on the side here. I'm going to have my trusty alarm here, and when the 2-minute mark goes off, you're going to get a little beep, 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 okay? And just so you know, we got to keep things moving here so we stay on schedule. So first of all, I'd like to invite Shirley Keaveney, and then the rest of you just follow. You don't need further announcements. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Meaford Hall. We are so proud of this amazing facility. For Meaford, I would begin by saying that we don't have surplus land that is municipally owned to offer as an incentive or in partnership for an affordable build. With the construction of our new super school, the Blue Water District School Board tract property was declared surplus. We would have purchased the property, but the asking price is out of reach. We approached County Council, who agreed to partner with us. A deal could not be made with the school board, which is unfortunate, as this site is the perfect location for affordable housing. Are we not all of the understanding that the Minister of Education wants to see surplus school lands utilized for housing? Grey County will request a delegation at the Ministry at Roma this January on this matter. The province defines affordable as rent no greater than the lesser of 30% of the annual income of a household at the 60th percentile of the applicable municipality. My experience is that many people generally see affordable housing as trailer park-like, or a development that is not attracted or well-tended. This does not help the process of securing a project. Education is needed to get residents on board to support worker-based housing, which is how I define what we are talking about here today. The cost to build is prohibitive enough without adding community uncertainty. Our greatest challenge is lack of capacity at our wastewater plant. We are working on our infiltration issues, but Meaford needs an expansion or new sewage plant which could not be constructed within our current debt capacity. The province must support infrastructure if they want housing built. We simply can't afford to do it on our own. We are working through the environmental assessment and plan to start design in 2024. It looks like the earliest the plant could open is 2028, and it is unlikely any new development proposals will be able to get wastewater allocation until after the expanded plant is open due to our current capacity restraints. Bad news for the secondary development lands in our official plan. We will be talking to the province about the community's need for housing and wastewater capacity at Roma. Council just adopted our strategic priorities for our term. One of them is municipal affordable housing measures, the scope of which includes examining information relating to the areas of influence and control that the municipality has in terms of housing, presenting actions that Council could take to increase housing type diversity, engaging the community in the process so that resident insights can be integrated into the findings, and finally, outreach to neighboring communities and counties and housing-focused groups working to address housing challenges. Meaford is preparing a how-to guide for the approval of additional residential units. We will host a public meeting in January to assist residents in navigating this process. Council will also be discussing the potential of a 1% commitment to affordable housing during budget deliberations in January. Thank you all and enjoy your day. I made it in under 3 minutes.
Thank you to the Institute of Southern Georgian Bay for the opportunity to speak to you today and provide my view as an Owen Sound City Councillor. Like many municipalities in Ontario, Owen Sound is working hard to increase the housing supply. We are poised on the edge of new housing developments for single and multi-dwelling units, $28 million in construction dollars up to October, the end of October this year, 300 building permits. But we also face the challenge of ensuring that we have the right housing supply and sufficient rental housing for the wage sectors and groups, including retail, healthcare, and the support services that sustain our communities. In 2021, I began this learning journey with the Institute. I was intrigued by the chance to learn about options to address the affordability of housing in our communities. I thought that this journey would help me in finding the missing link, the magic recipe, the secret sauce, the hidden key to unlocking opportunities for affordable housing, something that had not yet been explored by all the different levels of government, land use planning, and policy statements, but it became very clear. There is no direct line from the question, how to the answer, just do. And I'd like to talk about this wicked, messy issue that takes determination, dedication, courage, risk-taking, and innovation to look at other options to address our housing issues. I learned about the value of people from different parts of the community, developers, builders, real estate agents, our Indigenous communities, all coming together to find community solutions. This has been the heart of what the Institute has been doing as we explore community-held assets, social finance tools, and the value of considering an in-commons community wealth approach. As a city representative on the boards of the Owen Sound Municipal Nonprofit Housing Corporation and Owen Sound Housing Company, I have seen what is possible when all levels of government and the public sectors work together by the recent successful build of the Thompson at Odawa Heights with 60 affordable and rent-geared to income rental units. This is why we are here today. This is not the time for political posturing, boundary marking, or blame and shame finger pointing at any groups or any decision makers. Together, we can roll up our sleeves, sharpen the pencils, and most importantly, adjust the lens. We can open up the conversation to let the wisdom of all guide us in narrowing the housing affordability gap. For me, that is true community wealth. In closing, please consider these words as we move through the sessions today. If more health and security around housing is meant to be, it is up to we. Thank you again for attending today, and I am looking forward to conversations as we meet together. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the voice is carrying. Thank you very much. My name is Andrea Matrasaz, and I'm here representing the town of the Blue Mountains, but I see so many town of the Blue Mountains and regional community members here that We were asked two things to prepare for our 3 minutes. We were asked to identify needs and then share one good thing, one thing that's working in our municipalities. But I'm not going to dwell on the needs because each and every one of you here knows what they are. What we will look for and what I am encouraged to see is that mix of housing in order for us to be able to meet that missing middle. When we're talking to service industry workers who can't find the right match for their current workplace income, and young doctors who would like to settle here but cannot find a place that they can afford to settle in with their family, we know we have to continue to address that mix. And I am delighted when I start to see developments coming forward with housing units that are 1,400 square feet, 500 square feet. That is the kind of variety that we need to place in here. So I'll just leave that as our need, because I do want to share two examples of something that's, in my opinion, has started to change, has started to move the needle a little bit. The two examples are our community improvement program and the one that we have specifically called Housing Within Reach. It's taken a long time to come to fruition, but we actually allocated the first funds this year. The second example I'm going to talk about is the kind of partnership that we can do with developers and some of the most recent news on that scope as well. So the Housing Within Reach Community Improvement Program is something that we've been able to do in partnership, and I'm glad I heard the words partnership because Grey County has certainly been significant in that as well by offering their money as well as what the town can put together. We had $550,000 in a reserve ready to launch this program, and we decided as council this year to release the first $250,000, and we had applications come in. 10 applications were granted out for both the Housing Within Reach and the other refurbishment CIP program we have. The one success that I want to highlight is in one particular case in Clarksburg, we have 10 apartment units that will come online because of this program. They're investing over $2 million, but our program's providing $76,000 in a number of mechanisms, and 2 of those units will be protected for 10 years in an attainable housing rental rate. And that is the kind of key that we're looking for. It doesn't have to be all of them. It has to be what we can do to generate the housing supply and keep some of it within an attainable range. The second program is also that recently you've heard that Home Farm, McPherson Homes, has come to us with a partnership concept that they will build smaller units, again, 1,400 square feet and down. They will rent those out, but we are looking that we're going to end up with 20 of those units will be protected for 25 years in attainable housing rental rates. And that, again, it's not just 1 bedrooms, it's not just studio apartments, it's up to 3-bedroom units because our families here, our workforce families need attainable housing as much as those who are just coming to get themselves established in the workforce here. That's my 3 minutes, I believe. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's so encouraging to see so many people here wanting to talk about this crisis in our communities. And I wanted to start by echoing really what Carol was talking about. None of us can do it on our own, and to have a regional approach and share ideas is going to be so important. Thank you to the Institute for convening this. They've been such a leader in this, and all the people who stood up at the beginning to be involved. Thank you, every one of you. So of the top 3 housing issues in Collingwood, one's already been covered by a couple, so I'm not going to deal with that. But number 2, I'm going to say, is our property tax base. It's our main source of revenue that we raise, and it's too small. Why? Because we're not, we don't have enough residents and businesses paying property tax. Too small for what? Too small to offer sufficient incentives to make a business case for the private sector to get building affordable housing units. So it leads to my other issue, which is we lack a nonprofit housing provider who's experienced and has a track record in financing, building, renting, the whole gambit. So that's a problem because the town has some land. I know other groups in our community have land. We can offer some incentives, but there's a gap that, if no profit margin was required, would help close it. And if there's still a gap, then I'm looking to the discussion later today because I'm convinced that social finance has a role to play in all of this. So my piece of advice is work with the development community with whatever tools you have at hand. And we've had a couple of successes. One or two examples I'll give arise out of a policy we have where your project needs points if you're going to be allocated servicing for the project. And by that I mean water and sewer servicing. And you get points for your project. One of the ways, at least, is if you're providing affordable housing. So in one case, we have a relatively small but a multi-use rental project we gave approvals to, and they're providing 2 units that will be at the affordable housing rate. The second example I'll give is another developer in town is going to build into the townhouses, 25 of them over 2 phases, an accessory dwelling unit that will have access from the main level, and that can be, because of the nature and the size and so on, will be to the affordable housing demographic. Okay. And outside the servicing policy, we just had a developer who came into my office and said, I've really done well in Collingwood building. I'd like to make a contribution. And through the settling of an appeal at the OLT, we secured a $1 million donation from his project that'll be paid when from the proceeds of sale of the units, and it's to be dedicated to affordable housing projects of the town. So we're getting started. We have a little bit of a fund, but from these things, but looking forward to our discussions later. Thank you all for being here.